So a lot of these concepts we really touched upon already earlier in the Shabbos and in the years before, but clearly this is a Masechta devoted to the issues of domains and carrying and etc., the many different types of Eruvin, which we will see as we move along. We start with the idea of carrying a mavi, which we already had said that if the mavi is not closed, then it looks like has a resemblance to a public domain. So rabbinically, we came along. The rabbis came along and said, in order to carry in the mavi, which is an alleyway that's open to a number of courtyards, and technically, it's closed on three sides. It's a big U, and it's only open on one side. So midaraisa, one would be allowed to carry there. But no, we need to close it up, and you close it up with either a lechi, which is a post that gives it some level of closure, or a kura, which is a beam. So now we're focusing right now on the beam, and we're calling it a mavi, but actually we're referring to the beam. So mavi shugavar l'mayla meser mama, says the Mishnah. If a mavi, which in this case we're referring to the particular item that makes a mavi into a valid mavi that allows you to carry in that mavi, if it's above 20 amas, you have to lower it, because above 20 amas, like the Hanukkah menorah, like the sukkah with the schach of the sukkah, it can't be taller than 20 amas, and if it is, the language here is lower the mavi, lower the beam, get that beam more within distant eyesight. Okay, even though it doesn't, whatever. Yeah, I'm not sure if eyesight right now is the main focus, but yes, that definitely is a factor. Rabbi Avrohom says it's perfectly fine if it's not lower than 20. It could be above 20. It's still perfectly okay. And another issue about a mavi is that U, how wide is the opening of the U? The opening of the U, if it's more than 10 amas wide, and you got a problem, because then already it's not called an opening, it's not called a doorway, it's called a pirza, it's just called a break, and that's not even seen as sort of an entranceway. You need to have that kind of appearance of it being a Pesach as opposed to a pirza. So v'arochav me'eser amas, you might, if it's wider than 10, that opening needs to be lessened by extending to create a wall. Or you started with a lechi, you got to add to that lechi and make that opening less than 10 amas. And the only way you do that is you must, some makeshift kind of fencing that will lower that opening and make it narrower. Okay. However, if there's a tzuras pesach in that opening more than 10 amos, even though it's wider than 10 amos, ain't tzorch l'mayit. At that point, you're good. The tzuras pesach, which is essentially the cross beam together with two posts, right? That's we have that concept also in by our sukkahs, which is coming up soon. That's able to sort of negate the need to fill in the walls. So here too, even though you feel you want to fill in the greater than 10 amma opening of the mavi, you don't have to if there's a tzuras pesach there. Okay, let's catch up on the Rashis here. So mavi shugavay shenichu esakor l'mayla mesramam. You place the beam that's going to allow you to carry in that mavi from your chutzner. Again, you go from your house to your chutzner, which needs one level of Eruv if it's not totally enclosed, or even if it is enclosed, if the house is open, more than one house open to that chutzner. So you've got houses open to the chutzner, which requires one Eruv, which is called Eruvin chatzeros, and you got the chutzner open to the mavi, also shared by many other chatzeros. Well, that also needs its own enclosure, and that is done through a kura. And then after that, you still need some kind of, challah, something, matzah, or some kind of food that's going to merge everybody to another dimension of it. After you've closed it, you've got to also merge them together to make it like one. But before you can do that, you've got to have an enclosed situation. So, you put the beam above 20 amas, and this beam is coming to allow you to carry within that enclosed alleyway. The midrais, and again, the truth of the matter is, we don't need now one, but let's say for somebody here, even in the valley, you have a lot of these alleyways. I open up to an alley, right? I go from my back to the alley that I make a right turn. I'm in Bel Air in about 40 feet. So in other words, everyone pretty much relies on the Eruv. But let's say if you didn't want to rely on the Eruv, you would have to again close up your alleyway. You make 2 posts, and you can make either one post. You can make a kura going across from one side to the other. So that allows you to carry within that mavi. The midaraisa itzer hotzos rishus ram b'Shabbos. Okay, because midaraisa, all we really have prohibited in terms of the Torah laws is really to carry in rishus harabim on Shabbos. My rishus harabim, right? To carry the mavi is not midaraisa a problem because the mavi is not a rishus harabim. What is rishus harabim? What's it called? A public domain where you cannot carry 4 amis in a public domain. Strachu placha gedola. Either it's a very large thoroughfare where people are walking, like a Wilshire Boulevard or a Ventura Boulevard type of deal. Because that kind of busy thoroughfare is similar to what they had as the Shvatim traveled in the Midbar. They traveled in formation. So those formations, the public area was a very large one that everyone sort of walked through. And that's the basis of determining what is called a public domain, which the Torah does not allow you to carry it. The Chol Mili de Shabbos Mishkan, because everything when it comes to Shabbos, the laws of Shabbos are all learned out from the Mishkan. And this public thoroughfare, which also carried the wagons of the Levium, how wide was that street? That street was 16 amas wide. Like we say in Azarik, Hilkach, and this is the Chumradik opinion. If this was the mainstream opinion, we couldn't make an Eruv, because you can't make an Eruv on a Daraisa Dika Rishus Rabbim. So you got to take the streets that you're trying to make an Eruv around, you'd have to turn it into a rabbinic domain first. So if we held this way, that every street that was 16 amas wide, then basically it would be very, very tough. It would not be Rishus Rabbim if it's less than 16 amas wide. And open from both sides. Right, that would be the classic Rishus Rabbim. We, of course, know there's another opinion. We'll learn about that in this Masechta, that in order to make Rishus Rabbim, you need 600,000 people walking in that busy thoroughfare. Rashi right now is only talking about the other opinion that says it's 16 amas.
So you need both? That's what we hold out.
Yeah.
600,000 and you need like 32 feet or whatever.
Correct. Mm-hmm. One second. Avamavi kotzer but a mavi is narrower. It's not 16 amas wide generally. Vinami rochavu, and even if it is 16 amas wide, ain't foolish, right? It's not. It doesn't go both ways. El rosha echad pasuach l'shusram, rosha echad sasam. The classic mavi, unless it's there are mavis that are made that way that are open from both sides. But the classic mavi is a U. Classic mavi is closed on 3 sides and only open on one side. That by definition means it cannot be Rishus Rabbim. Even if it's 16 amas wide, it doesn't go through on both sides. It's got to be an open, like a big street, like a Ventura, like it just keeps going. Okay. One more time. Vinami Rachav who ain't of Mefolish. Even if it's wide, it's not split. El Rosh Echad Pesach L'Shazram, Rosh Echad Sasam. One end of it is open, the other end is closed. They have a Mefolish because Lo Have a Mystery Bekura. Had it been open from both sides, had it been a Mavi Mefolish, it would not be allowed to be made permissible to carry simply with the beam. Because I'm reading the Gemara. As the Gemara will explain, the laws of a Mavi Mefolish are different than a Mavi She'ena Mefolish. Is it split all the way through, or is it not? The Kivin the Lav Rishus Rabbim, who, since it's not a Rishus Rabbim because of the nature of what a Mavi is, Shirol Tatule Be Minatorah, Blisham Tikkun, right? Then you'd be allowed to carry in it Midaraisa. If you ask Moshe Rabbeinu, go ahead, you can carry it. It is not a Rishus Rabbim. The Torah never prohibits it, right? Because we know that the rules are either you can't go from Rishus Yochad to Rishus Rabbim. That's one type of prohibited carrying midaraisa, or the other type of prohibited carrying is carrying in Rishus Rabbim for Amis. Those are essentially the only two things you cannot do on Shabbos midiraisa as far as carrying. Rabbanan Gazral, however, the Rabbanan came along, as they did in many cases, and said, in order to protect the laws of carrying, we need to prohibit other things. Otherwise, there's going to be a lot of confusion, and people are going to make mistakes. So how do we avoid these mistakes? Rabbanan Gazral mishum da'asila chufa b'shus rabim. You might come to mix up this type of a alleyway with Rishus Rabim, Vishayu b'tekanta delechi, and therefore they made it allowable to carry in it with the rectification of a lechi, which is a post, a kora or a crossbeam. The levi akera, okay, that should be a recognition. And people should know, I can carry here because of this, but in a regular on Wilshire Boulevard I can't carry. But if you didn't have this reminder, then you might say, well, I carried in my back alley. It's open. People walk there, and you're allowed to carry there. So I can carry in Shus Rabim as well, and it would leave terrible kilkul because people would end up making mistakes and then end up being Mechal Shabbos. Okay, so this cross beam that is now above 20, what do you need to do to make it good? You lessen it, yashbil, you lower it. V'taimim for Gemara, the Gemara will explain the reasoning. Okay, if Varacham Yasser Amis, you might, and the same thing, if the opening of the Mavi is more than 10 Amis wide, you have to decrease that amount of the opening. Zehu Shir Rochev Stam Psachim, because 10 Amis is the standard shear of an opening. When it gets to more than 10 Amis, it's no longer called a doorway or an opening, but it's called a pirza. It's called a breach. That's already too big. But I'm being in Pesach. We need a Pesach. That's what we're looking for. We need that kind of entrance kind of feel to it. And the only way you can have that entrance kind of feel is if it's 10 amas or less. And you have to set up beams, or not beams, poles, okay, to lessen the width of the entranceway, and to establish it as exactly to 10 or lower than 10, whichever works out, but that's what you got to do, because if it's more than 10, it's going to be a problem. Okay, and finally, if you have it Tzuras HaPesach, then you don't need to lessen it, that's good enough. Lechi mikan v'lechi mikan. What is a Tzuras HaPesach? It's a post on this side and a post on the other side, v'kora al gabein, and a beam that goes across on top of them. That is the classical Tzuras HaPesach, and if you do that, then you can negate the need for lessening the opening. The Tzuras HaPesach can cover you on that end. Okay, fine. So let's start the Gemara. The Gemara starts very similarly to the Gemara in Sukkah, which we remember, which we did fairly recently. Tanan. So we learned in the Mishnah. Tanan Hasam. We learned in the Mishnah in Sukkah. Sukkah shigavayla malames from Amma psula. Right, the language is interestingly very similar halacha, but the different language. There it says that if a sukkah is above 20 amas, it's possible. Here, what does it say? It says Yomayit. So there it says a sukkah above 20 is possible. Rabbi Yehuda Machshir. Rabbi Yehuda says it's perfectly fine. On that level, it's Rabbi Yehuda is essentially the same. There he says Machshir to contrast possible. Here he says Ein Tzarach to contrast Yomayit, less in the height. So Maisha Gabi Sukkah, the Gemara wants to know why is it different by Sukkah. The Tani Psula will use the language, it's puzzle, the Sukkah above 20 is puzzle. The Gabi Mavi, Tani Tekanta. When it comes to Mavi, we tell you what to do to rectify it. So what's the diff? Essentially it's the same thing, and yet we're giving two different approaches. One is telling you what to do about it, which is here by the Mavi, and by Sukkah, just as it's puzzle, doesn't tell you what you have to do. It doesn't tell you that if you lessen it, it's okay. So what's the difference? So the first answer of the Gemara is Sukkah deraisa tani psula, Mavi drabonon tani tekanta. So answer number one is that a Sukkah, which is deraisa, has a language of puzzle. A Mavi, which is drabonon, has the answer of tekanta. So okay, let's do the Rashi. So which one is preferred and which one is not preferred, and what is the Gemara saying? So look at Rashi. The Tani Takanta, the Tani Yamayit, Vo Tana Apostle, right? One case it says Yamayit there, and it doesn't say Apostle. So the answer, according to Rashi, is sukkah, the time of the raisa, right? Pretty much everything in Eruvin is a rabbinic function. There's very few things that deal with Eruvin. I mean, it connects with the raisa on some level, but the actual Eruv is a rabbinic concept that allows you to carry in a rabbinically prohibited domain. So it's all in the rabbinic world. So when you're dealing in in the rabbinic world, we say Yemayit. In the sukkah, which of course is a din in the Torah, you have to have a kosher sukkah. Now that the reasoning of a sukkah and the reason why you have to have a sukkah is the deraisidic reason. So sukkah, the time of the deraisa, the min hasaman yedu derasechem, right? So you have to know, even though the Gemara gives other reasons there, why does your sukkah have to be within 20 amas? So man yedu derasechem, you have to know you're in a sukkah. So you have to see the sukkah. So there, where the concept is a deraisidic concept, tani psula. So I can use the word puzzle, which is a word that connotes you know about the concept. Now let me tell you now, if you do it this way, that concept that you're already aware of is no good. Since already from the time of Moshe Rabbeinu, you already have this concept of having a sukkah and having to know that you're in a sukkah, so you know the general idea that a sukkah exists in Klal Yisrael. Well, now that you know the idea, and if the Chacham are now coming to tell you, if you don't do it the way the Torah demands that you do it, this pre-existing knowledge that we have of a sukkah, I can now come and tell you that if you don't do it right, it's puzzle. So a puzzle is already a language talking to somebody with some level of knowledge. If you know what it is, and I tell you do it this way, no, that's no good. So I know what you're talking about. So in that situation, so right, if you don't do it this way, it's possible. So you can use that kind of language of disqualification because you know what it is that I'm relating to you. Even though yes, there is a thing you can do to rectify the sukkah. Can you do something to make it better? Yes. I'm not going to tell that to you right now. But the bottom line is, till you fix it, it's puzzle. And puzzle is the best word to use because I want to tell you, I guess I want to be as clear as possible as to the seriousness of the issue, that it's not good. Okay, so you have the leeway to use puzzle. According to the first answer, puzzle is the preferred word to tell you how serious it is that's not good. But I need a prerequisite. I need to have known about the problem. On the other hand, mavi the kol ikra d'rabbanan. But mavi, on the other hand, with the whole essential aspect of mavui, of erev, of this whole thing is drabbanan. Lo yishayach l'meima beloshim paslus. I can't use the word puzzle. I'd like to if I could, because puzzle is stronger. I guess according to Rashi, it's the more powerful terminology, and it should really be used. Except I can't use it by a mavi. Why? Okay, here I'm introducing you to the very beginning of the concept of a mavi and all of its rules, all of its laws. Well, my puzzle shaykh meimar. Okay, and how could I use a lotion of puzzle if you do this way, it's no good. Do what way? I don't even know what you're talking about. You first have to tell me what it is that you're dealing with before you can start telling me what's kosher, what's not kosher. We never, the rabbis never taught anybody the shear of what this is all about and the measurements and the rules. The list say came posted where it would sort of fit to have that kind of language. If you don't do it, it's no good. If you don't, hello, first. Can you just tell me what the situation is first? So if I already know the situation, namely sukkah, and I know the Torah, well, I know sukkah. Now you can tell me it's puzzle. But according to this first Torah, it's not shaykh by a din d'rabbanan where I'm being introduced the very first time to this idea. So what do I say? I say that you have to lower it. Notice that when you're making a mavui in when you're making a kur, when you're building a kur by a mavui, which allows you to carry, and if you make it, if you put up too high, you have to lower it. So I'm sort of teaching you the basic fundamentals of what it is that a regular mavui is all about. If I just said the word puzzle, that's just too curt and too brief to give me the proper flavor of what really is going on here. So the rice and nami, okay, that's the viter. Okay, very good. So that's teretz number 1. Okay, and it's a Tosaf, just quickly, if you take a look at that top Tosfos, he said, how come you don't, so shouldn't you first tell me that a muffin needs a lechi and a kura? That would really be, if you want to talk about introducing it properly, that would be the way to introduce it. If you want to make a mavi permissible to be carried in, you need to put either a kor or lechi. And now that the next step would be, and if you put that mavi 20 amas, that would make more sense. So Tosfos answers, but the Tana wanted to keep it as parallel as it could to sukkah. So you want the Mishnah sort of lined up in as much conformity as possible. So to tell me all the rules first, that already would deviate too much from the Mishnah Sukkah. So we do want to make it similar by saying Sukkah shigavayla malam yasser mama, mavi shigavayla malam yasser. So on that level, it's very similar, but the wording still has to be different because of the different subtleties involved. But at least we didn't start the most logical way in order to keep Sukkah the same way. Okay, yes, Mishnah want there to start also telling you, how to build a Sukkah and what do you do. So it did it this way. Okay, that's answer number 1. Answer number 2, Viba Seima, back to the Gemara. Viba Seima, or if you don't like the first answer, I'll give you a second one. The rice and nami tani takanta. Let's go and let's shift gears and say, you know what, even by a rabbinic, even by a Torah rule, there's nothing wrong with saying the word Yamayit. Yamayit, because in the first answer, Rashi learns puzzle is the best word. But I can't say it unless I previously know the concept. Now I'm telling you, no, it could be that Yamayit would really be the best word in all cases.
The first answer was kind of 2 answers, right?
Why 2? What do you mean?
The hustle by Durabanans, not, and then also to line up, right? And is it a kind of...
Well, but that's really Tos's question, who says, why not tell me how to build it, and then I wanted to keep it lined up. But that wasn't part of the Gemara's answer. The Gemara's answer is, well, how come you have, why in one place it says Yamayit, one place it says puzzle? So the Gemara's answer was, you only could say puzzle when it's referring to a previously stated halacha. But if I'm introducing you to the halacha, I can't say Yamayit. I can't say puzzle. I have to use Yamayit. Answer number 2 is now going to say, no, even if Yamayit is generally the best thing. Because I don't want puzzle to be the best thing. We're sort of shifting gears. And puzzle is not the preferred. Normally Yamayit is the preferred thing. So why not tell me Yamayit by the sukkah as well? Why do you use the language of puzzle by the sukkah? Why not use Yamayit? So Vibos Ema, that other point I said, it was really Tos's point, like Akabi didn't start it differently. Okay, Vibos Ema, the second answer is, Deraisa Namilo Tani Takanta. Even by Deraisa, I will use words that will tell you how to rectify the problem. Nothing wrong with doing that. Ella, but why don't I do it by sukkah then? El sukkah the nefishin milei sukkah, which has a lot of issues there. Because if you remember that Mishnah, there wasn't just one issue of a sukkah that's too tall. You'd have the issue that's a sukkah that's too short. You had an issue of the schach, pasuk v'tani psula. There, the best way to do it is all these 3 sukkahs are puzzles. That one word covers all of the cases. If I have to start telling you what to do in each case, I'm going to dray your cup and you're going to be so confused you won't even know what hit you. Okay, that never happens to us. He says, one more time, sukkah sukkah, which has a lot of words, we want to keep it short and concise, we use the word puzzle. Right now there's only one issue we're really dealing with. I mean, and your mind really has to do with both of them. If it's too wide or if it's too high, so it's not too many words, it's not going to involve a whole ganze Megillah about what it is that you have to do. Tani takanta. So it's simple. I am able to do it here because it's concise and to the point. But it would not have been concise and to the point by sukkah. Let's see. Rashi explains. Deraisa nami tani takanta. B'yalma b'mili achrina. When it comes to other matters, even by a deraisa, there's nothing wrong with writing what you have to do to fix up that particular area. I wouldn't automatically choose the word puzzle as a preferred word. So what's the difference? So by sukkah the nefisha milei diktani hosam v'shein l'sholosh defanos. We talk about a sukkah that doesn't have 3 walls. Shein gavoya asara. It's not 10 tfachim high. Shechamsim mitzilsa. It's got too much shade. It's got more shade. It's got more sunlight than shade. So you got a lot of issues there, and each one has a different way of rectifying that issue. So there's no way I'm going to start telling you in one Mishnah all of these things. Pasuk v'tanei psula. Tashamatzi kaya v'tanei lu kulu kachada. I can now list them, enumerate them in one grouping, and go weiter in Shas. Yeah, v'tanei tekanta. And I told you what to do about the problem. Levi matzi l'Eruvin listenu. Okay, I would never have been able to merge them and write them as one slew of issues because I'd have a different rectification for every issue. In the case he doesn't have enough walls, I got to tell you, make a wall. If it's not tall enough, I got to tell you to raise it. If it's too much sun, then shade. You have to add more schach. And we know there's a rule in Psachim, a beautiful rule that educators really need to remember. You got to teach your student concise, get to the point. Don't bulble around there and get everybody confused. That's not the way to teach. You got to go right to the point. So how would the Mishnah be right to the point if it's telling me all these different things of how to rectify these problems? It's the only way to make it one nice short list and give you one big, clear word that essentially explains everything. It would be apostle. That's the word. Okay, so that's a very important yisoid, and we'll get to that Be'ez Hashem in Psachim pretty soon. Okay, now let's go weiter. So now the question is, where do you get this 20 amma deal from? So I'm back to the Gemara. I'm reviewing a Rav. So this concept of 20 amas is learnt out from the opening of the Heichel, of the Beis Hamikdash of Shalom Melech, where we know there was an ulam and there was a Heichel, right? There was an antechamber, and then there was the actual Heichel, where you had the Mizbeach Hazav, and you had the Shulchan, you had all that nice holy stuff, and then you had the Holy of Holies, where you had the Aron in the holier place. So you had three different levels, apparently. Let's see. So he says, so the Chacham learned out from Pischa Shalechel, Rabbi Yehuda lo elam Pischa Shulam. But Rabbi Yehuda says, no, I can learn it out from the opening of the antechamber. Now this didn't exist. There's no antechamber by the Mishkan, but we're referring now to the base of Migdash. The Tanan, as we learned in the Mishnah, Pischa Shalechel Gavaya Shemama, the Shalom Melech's Heichel was 20 amas high. Rachva Eser Amas was 10 amas wide. V'shal Ulam Gavoy Arba Amma, the Ula was essentially double, where it was 40 amas high. V'Rachva Eser Mama, and it was Eser Mamos, and it was 20 amas wide. So the question is, we need the Pesach. We need a case in point where it's called the Pesach, and let's see the height of that Pesach. And the tallest place where there's a reference to the word Pesach, that would be how high a Kura can be. Because the Kura essentially closes up the entranceway, the Pesach. So if I can find a place, so whether it's 20 or 40, that'll obviously make the difference in halacha between the Tanakam and Rabbi Yehuda. So the Tanakam learns it out from the Eichel, which is 20. Rabbi Yehuda learns it out from the Ulam, which is 40. And they both darshan the same pasuk. The Pesach Ol Moed. You have to slaughter the shlamim at the doorway, at the opening of the Ol Moed. The key word that we're looking at is the word Pesach. Okay, you slaughter it at the opening of the Ol Moed. Rabbanan sar v'kedushas heichel l'chud, kedushas ulam l'chud. Rabbanan feel that the sanctity of the ulam and the sanctity of the heichel are two separate sanctities, and therefore, when you talk about the opening of the doorway, we're referring to the heichel and not to the ulam. V'chiksiv Pesach Ol Moed, a heichel ksiv. Right, since the Beis Hamikdash and the Mishkan right now we are assuming are interchangeable references, because obviously the Torah's directions are not just for the Mishkan, but for the future Mikdash as well. Beis Hamikdash, so it's referring to the words Pesach, Ol Moed, are referring to the Heichel. And how tall was that? How high was that opening? It was 20 amas. Rabbi Yehuda savar Heichel v'ulam kedusha achas he. Okay, and Rabbi Yehuda says no. The kedusha of the ulam and the kedusha of the Heichel was one. The chiksiv Pesach Ol Moed atavayu, and the words Pesach Ol Moed are going on both. Batayu diksiv. It's referring to both of them, and therefore, if ulam is also synonymous with is as holy as the Heichel. So we say that the entranceway of the Oel Moed, that's the entrance of the Ulam, which is essentially the same as the Heichel, and therefore that's 40 amas. Rabbi Yehuda has a 20 amma additional leeway. Rashi, Oel Moed, right? He says he who a Heichel. The Oel Moed is the Heichel shesham hayinosim mizbeach Hazav. That's where they put the golden altar, Vashulchan, and the table, Vamenayra, and of course the Menorah B'Kuliksiv Oyel Moed, and all of them are in the Oyel Moed. Okay, which parallels Shlomo Melech's Heichel. Now, Rabbanan Savre Kedushas Ulam Lav Kedushas Heichel. So the Rabbanan hold their two distinct areas of Kedusha. V'chol avodas hamuros be'Eichel. Okay, and all of the avodas which must be done in the Eichel have the avidlu b'ulam shofar of lomas kashrei. Right? If you lit the menorah in the ulam instead of the Eichel, the Rabbanan will say thumbs down. What are you doing? You can't do it in the ulam. You can't do it in the antechamber of the chamber. You got to do it in the chamber. You got to do it in the Eichel, in the sanctuary. And therefore it's not called the Oel Moed. And if it's not called an Oel Moed, we don't find a reference where the entranceway to that area is called an entranceway. It's not called a Pesach because there's no place where it's called, or where the Ulam is called a Pesach, because it's not referring to that. While Rabbi Yehuda says no, El Pesach Ulam Alma Pischa Ikre. He says it's the same. There's no difference between an echanami. If you were to put the lechem aponim on the shulchan in the ulam, you'd be kosher. It has one sanctity. Okay, Habayis hapasuach ulam vu. Okay, that's weiter. Okay, so that's one shot. That they argue about the ulam being, is it the same sanctity or not? And if it's the same sanctity, then you can have a 40 amma opening, and if not. V'ibosema, back to the Gemara. Or if you don't like that pshat, I'll give you an alternative pshat. V'ibosema Rabbi Yehuda nami kedushas ulam l'chud kedushas heichel l'chud. I'll tell you, Rabbi Yehuda also buys into the notion that they're two separate sanctities. And you can't mix one with the other. The sanctity of the heichel is uniquely distinct from the sanctity of the ulam. So how in the world do you justify a 40 amma height called Pesach? Where do you find such a thing that the opening of a place of 40 ammas is called a Pesach? Where do you find that? And the reason for Rabbi Yehuda is because it says in the pasuk El Pesach Ulam Habayis. Okay, which if you look on the side, where's the base? Is that Yecheskel? Yeah, in pasuk in Yecheskel. Okay, so interesting. Like the Tosas points out that there really is no pasuk specifically saying El Pesach Ulam Abayis. It says El Pesach. It says Ulam Abayis. It doesn't say Pesach, but it does say in another place Pesach Ha'ulam. So therefore. Right, so let's take a look at that third tois on the page just very quickly. Zah pasuk ain't a b'shum makom. You will not find any pasuk in Tanakh that has the words Pesach Ulam Habayis. The Marie the Matzina the Kosav Ulam Habayis. It does say in one place Ulam Habayis, which is Yecheskel Mem, u'b'krach rina ksiv Pesach Habayis. And in another place it says Pesach Habayis. So we the Gemara takes that leeway and now it interchanges them. So it's like this is a unique kind of situation where the Gemara doesn't actually quote the exact pasuk, but sort of takes a little bit of poetic license to sort of inject that expression here, and therefore it's like it says Pesach Ulam. And Rabbanan disagrees. So let's go back to the Gemara now. That's Tosfos gives us pshat. Otherwise, this would be a scratch your head type of Gemara.
Just paraphrasing.
Yeah. Well, it's not even paraphrase. I mean, it just sort of taking two psukim and feeling it because you have this expression here and that expression there. You can overlap the expressions.
You can make a new expression.
Right. So let's see here, and the Rabbanan are essentially going to say, "But sorry, but you can't really do that." So let's read it inside. He says. One more time. According to both of them, they're two distinct sanctities. But it says Pesach Ulam Habayis, and therefore, if you have that, if you take that liberty, which is what the Gemara is doing, the word Pesach is actually associated with ulam, with the ulam. So therefore, l'chayra, I have a right to say that an opening is 40 amas, even though it has a distinct level of kedusha, but it's still called Pesach. Rabbanan says, sorry, nice try, but yeviksiv al Pesach ulam kedekamrid. It would actually say those words, but it doesn't say that. It says either Pesach habayis or ulam habayis, but it doesn't say Pesach ulam habayis. So sorry, hashas iksiv al Pesach ulam. Rabbanan yeviksiv al Pesach ulam kedekamrid. Hashas iksiv al Pesach ulam habayis, okay, and now that it says el pesach ulam habayis hapesach ulam, what it means is, I guess that what you want to say is interchangeable, since you don't find a clear expression referencing that you can't do it that way. So what does it mean? It means when it says ulam pesach habayis, it means to the opening of the antechamber's entranceway into the chambers. It's really referring to the chamber itself and not the antechamber, referring to the heichal. So one more time, Hashad Iksiv al Pesach Ulam Bayis, Habayis HaPesach Ulam. It's referring to the bayis which is open to the ulam. Okay, so bottom line is, basically what the Rabbanan are answering back is, you can't play those kind of, interchangeable games, and the way you understand it is referring to the heichal, not to the actual ulam. Let's do Rashi. Pesach habayis hapasuch ulam v'ua heichal. Okay, so basically they take this liberty and they say it's not referring to the ulam at all; it's referring to the heichal. And therefore you have no basis at all to say it's 40 amas. Okay, not too many Rashis here. So let's continue then. So bottom line is we have either two different sources of the machlokes, but either way, according to the Rabbanan it's 20, and according to the Rabbi Yehuda it's 40. I fret the Gemara. But the source either way was Pesach, right? V'shach the Pesach Olam Moed. Now, the Olam Moed that the Torah is talking about was what? Which Olam Moed? The Torah is talking about the Mishkan. So at the end of the day, V'aki ksiv hai b'Mishkan ksiv. So, but I don't understand how you feel you can extrapolate from the Mishkan to the Heichal when the word Pesach is only...
Did we do the Rabbanan?
Yeah, Rabbanan, yeah, we did.
Okay, fine, thank you.
Yeah, right. Hashik siv al Pesach ulam habayis habayis. Yeah, we did that. I v'aki ksiv hai b'Mishkan ksiv. But at the end of the day, doesn't the Torah only refer to the Mishkan in that pasuk of V'shachto Pesach Olam Moed? It's not the Olam Moed of Shalom Melech. It's the Olam Moed of Moshe Rabbeinu's Mishkan. Where it answers Ashachon Mishkan Dikre Migdash and Migdash Dikre Mishkan. I will show you that the word Mishkan is sometimes called Migdash and the word Migdash is sometimes called Mishkan, and therefore they are essentially interchangeable. So when you find the Olam Moed of the Mishkan, you're really finding the Olam Moed as well of the Migdash. So I'm going to show you how the two things basically are interchangeable. You have to say this, because if you don't say this, Hadam Rabbi Yehuda Shmuel, Shlom Shishachtan Kaidim Psichas Delasai Sehechel Psulin. Shmuel said that if you shech the Shlomim, okay, before you opened up the doorway of Shlomo Melech's Beis HaMikdash, the doorway of the Heichel, right? Every morning, early in the morning, they would open the doors. Like we also have, every shul has that early bird who opens the shul, opens the doors to the shul. So if you shecht that Shlom before you open the doors to the Heichel of Shlomo Melech, psulin. How? It's possible. Shema v'shachta Pesach al Moed. It's got to be open. So you see that he's making up, Shmuel is saying halacha about the Shlomo Melech's Beis HaMikdash based on a pasuk referring to the Mishkan. So we learn out from that pasuk, V'shachta Pesach Olam Moed, B'zman shepsuchim, the only time you can shecht is when it's open, V'oy b'zman she'nulum, but not when it's closed. Okay, I asked me the same kasha that isn't, but it is not pasuk written about the Mishkan and not about the Beis HaMikdash. Ella, you got to give the same answer. Ashachan Migdash Dikre Mishkan, Mishkan Dikre Migdash. The teretz is we find that the words are used in, interchangeable, and as such everything is good. And therefore, and tomorrow we'll see how we'll actually show where it's interchangeable. What is the exact reference? Let's just do the Rashis. V'ki ksiv Pesach Ol Moed b'Mishkan Shem b'Midbar ksiv. It's referring to the one in the Midbar. V'Shem lo haya ulam uPesach heichal. There was no ulam. There wasn't any heichal. Okay, Yud Amisu the Gevaya. It was only 10 amas high. Shakrushim lo hayu elesar amas goyvan. We know that the krushim in the Mishkan were 10 amas high. So what's going on? So he says they're interchangeable. Shlom sheshacht, and this is Shmuel's halacha. Shachris kedem psichaz lasa seichel psulin. If you shech the shlom before you open up the doors, it's possible. I of Mishkan ksiv. Okay, ubeis halamim minolon. So that's only written in the Mishkan. How do you know that in the base of Mikdash it's true? So you see that you see must be that whatever applies to one applies to the other, and tomorrow we'll see how they're interchangeable.